Hey guys, I wanted to make a video about farming city-states. Now, it's not exactly uncommon knowledge that declaring war against a city-state in order to steal a worker, or even two workers, is a thing. Um, but I wanted to talk about specifically declaring war on a city-state very early on, not only for the purpose of stealing a worker, but also for farming XP, getting promotions for your units, getting a free great general without having to tangle with other civs, etc. And there's lots that can lead up to, and I'll cover that all. But briefly, I want to talk about the pros and cons of declaring war right away. Now, one of the clear advantages right now is I haven't met any other civilizations, so I'm not going to have to deal with any warmonger penalty whatsoever. Now, keep in mind, this is the ancient era, so warmonger penalties are at their lowest right now. And if I understand correctly, warmonger penalties against city-states is actually half that against other civs. So even if I had met some civs already, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. However, if I send some scouts out and meet two different AIs and they each have a worker for me and I declare war on both of them and a city-state, I mean, it kind of adds up. So if you do declare war right away, you have the advantage of not having that warmonger penalty against you, even though it is kind of slight. Now, one of the disadvantages of declaring war right away is that workers placement. Like right now, let's say I was at war with Vilnius and they had a worker, they're not going to send it out. My warrior's right on their border, they can see it, they'll know it's in danger. Whereas if you hadn't declared war yet, yeah, they might come out and start working the sheep, or maybe this is a horse tile or something, you know. So it will make stealing workers a little more complicated. So if that's one of your goals, you got to keep that in mind. Like I could steal a worker from one of these two tiles from this forest tile. To know what a city-state can see, it's basically just like your city. You can see one border or one tile outside of your border, as well as hills that are two tiles outside of your border, as long as the tile between that hill and your border doesn't have some kind of obstruction. Like, for example, if I was on this hill, they would not be able to see me, even though I'm on a hill 2 hexes outside of their border, because this forest is here and would act as a line of sight blocker, an obstruction. That's the word I was looking for. Another one of the advantages of declaring war right away is even though you're at war with a city-state, your rep will continue to be modified. Your peacetime rep will continue to be modified. So let's say I declared war right now. I think it instantly sets you at negative 60 rep. Now internally, this will be counting every single turn, plus 1 rep, plus 1 rep, plus 1 rep. We won't be able to enjoy that while we're at war, but 60 turns later, if I decide to finally make peace, we'll be at neutral immediately. Whereas if, let's say I don't steal a worker until turn 30 and then make peace on turn 60, I'll still be at negative 30. So that's one of the advantages of declaring war right away. But perhaps the biggest disadvantage of declaring war right away is, as you can see, I just don't have visibility. Maybe there's a better city-state here. Maybe there's a better city-state here. So it's kind of a risk that you take. Also, you want to look at things like what kind of city-state it is. Like I would rather declare war on Sydney than Vilnius because I'd rather have the happiness and the extra, what is that, jewelry or porcelain? I think that's jewelry. The extra unique luxury, the extra happiness. I'd probably like that better than the extra food. However, from what I can see, we got forest here. We're further away, so I wouldn't be able to have units like stationed here and still get back for defensive purposes. Um, and it kind of looks like this is coast, so they probably have more water overall. Not that this has much less, but still. Um, so anyways, I am going to go ahead for the purpose of the demonstration and declare war on Vilnius right away. Now the reason why I didn't last turn is because you can see this is the start of this turn. My warrior still has its mobility. If I had declared war before this, I would have been getting bombarded, which is fine later on because we're going to use that to rack up some XP, but not so good right now because I'm still in the scouting phase. And if, say, my warrior happens to run into a civ and I want to steal a worker, this is on Emperor difficulty, so I might have to deal with like a bombard and 2 warrior strikes. So I'm going to want to keep him as high of health as possible. And that's why I didn't declare war before this turn. But now that I've declared war, I'll go ahead and move And this is looking pretty good. I'm going to scout some more here, but we've got a natural wonder that's worth settling. We've got a unique luxury. We've got some coast, bonus tile. Looks like a production hill, you know, so I might be able to set up a city in here, which is extra nice because we'll basically box this in. Because one of the things you got to keep in mind is as you're perpetually attacking the city-state to farm them, as you rack up more and more archers on their borders, you're actually going to start lowering their health over time. And you don't want another civ swooping in and basically capturing it, because they'll get the capture with no effort expended, and then you won't be able to farm XP anymore. Okay, it's turn 31, and it looks like choosing Vilnius was a good idea. It did indeed end up being a pocket city-state for us. The only close other alternative that we really didn't see before was Vatican. And it's not bad, you know, it's just far away. It's got the horse dangling out here. A couple of different spots to siege that horse from. So that wouldn't have been bad. But as you can see, because I had my archer here standing where I did, they did dangle out a worker, so boom. Now that I've stolen one worker there, I've also stolen this worker from Greece. Unfortunately for this map, Greece is one of our neighbors, and technically Denmark is as well, although they're kind of far away and crossed a lot of rough. And unfortunately there's not really any good expand spots besides maybe over here. And I can cut these down for farms, and I'll send a trade route for food here. Be a decent production city, but since I'm going to have to have one citizen working for just for faith generation, it's kind of going to be a little stunted, but it'll be on the coast, so I'll be able to explore some. Anyways, one of my scouts did find an upgrade ruin, so already I've got 2 archers and a warrior. And one of my archers can hop from hill to hill, and you know, ignores terrain costs. So I'll be very shortly, once I get these guys healed up, I'll start dangling people in front of Vilnius to get hit, and then I'll back them up. One nice thing about having a city over here is I'll have more city borders near them, so I can back up and heal up, and hopefully while I have units outside their borders healing, I'll be able to steal a second worker from them. Okay, I got my expand up. There was a barbarian camp in the way, so in addition to my scout shooting at it, I had moved my warrior from healing over there in case I needed to help out with getting my settler through. My warrior isn't fully healed, as you can see. He's at 81 out of 100, but I decided to go ahead and take this opportunity to move him into position of the city to get shot. Vilnius has built an archer, so he'll get hit twice. You can see his current XP is 10. I did want to point out, though, let's say this was at 100 instead of 81. He just took about 50 damage, so he would have been about 50, and if I hit Fortify now, he'd be up to like 60, plus have a combat strength, so I would be able to take a second volley if I had come here fully healed. I'd still recommend at that point to back up and heal up. And the reason for that is in case some barbarians come around, you don't want barbarians being able to kill you. You want to be healed up. So basically, while I've got this downtime, I'm done with the short-range scouting for expand purposes. So now I'm basically going to move all my military units. I'm going to keep moving them in, and ideally with the archers, you want to be able to step in, shoot, and then get hit, and then back up. You don't want to just move them into position. Because say like this had been an archer instead of a warrior, I would have gotten hit by the city bombard, hit by the archer. See, he did get 2 XP for each. Whereas if I step in and shoot, I'll get 2 XP for shooting, 2 XP for being shot, 2 XP for getting shot. So if you can step your archers in and shoot, you'll get 50% more XP than if you just move them into range and let them get XP just by being hit. So that's what I'm going to do right now until a barb threat reveals itself. Part of the reason why I'm willing to take this risk is because one of my archers does ignore terrain costs, so I can hop over these hills pretty effortlessly to get back for defense purposes. I did want to point out that eventually, once I get a third worker and I got some key tiles improved in my cities and road built, I will actually put some roads on these hills here just to make transportation between the front line and the back line that much smoother. Okay, it's next turn. I shouldn't have stopped recording. I didn't realize the computer was actually going to help me here. In keeping with what I was just saying, my scout wouldn't have taken 2 steps this turn anyways, just because then I'd be in range of just getting hit. And he was nice enough to move his archer out, so I can actually step, shoot. I think he'll probably withdraw because of how much damage I just did, but if he does, I can just step, shoot again, and then get hit twice, so the scout's going to get a lot of XP in a short time. Also, in terms of getting my warrior into my borders to heal faster and to bolster home defense, because there's a hill here and a forest hill here, there's no real point in moving in 1 hex and then just healing up, because either one of these I step on is going to fully consume his mobility anyways. So I could actually step two hexes into my borders, and this is really advantageous given my current geography, just because here on a hill I'll have added defense if he should happen to get attacked. Plus, since it's right next to my city, I can swing through without losing mobility if I have to come to the southern border for defensive purposes. Now, okay, the archer did withdraw. Some calendar time. Good deal. Alright, and as you can see, we can step and shoot. And because this is my scout, I don't have to step here and here. I can step here and shoot. And because I'm in the forest, I'll take that much less damage, and then it'll take me less time to heal up, which will allow him to get back into the fray that much sooner. Okay, it's now turn 47, and I wanted to discuss another facet of the strategy here. Basically, I don't want to just move my archer in and get bombarded. So if I move him over here, for example, I'll be able to step shoot next turn. And what's really handy is this city's about to grow my borders in 1 turn to be here. So I'll be able to shoot from this hex back up to here, heal up, move in, which is real handy because he doesn't have the ignore terrain. But anyways, the facet I was referring to is being able to step shoot and move in a melee at the same time. What this means is they'll have 2 units to choose from, and if they should happen to choose the warrior, the archer will continue to be able to shoot, getting a little more XP in a shorter amount of time. This is more for kind of later on, simply because the warrior is going to be in rough as opposed to open terrain, and the archer has less defensive strength than the warrior anyways. So it might just be that the city ends up shooting the archer. But I did want to point out that in the event that you cannot coordinate your units converging at the same time like this, don't let that stop you to step in, shoot, get hit, back up, step somebody else in, get shot, back up. That's okay, because you're still going to be amassing some experience along the way. So let's see here. These guys are done. And you're willing to trade salt, so I'll keep the happiness up for now. Who else needs orders? You. Now, I could move him in also, but the reason why I'm not going to is not only, like, I know I said don't move in and just be a sitting duck with an archer unit. It would be okay here because we've got multiple units to choose from, so it's not like I'll be lost. Part of the reason why I'm not going to, I'm just going to heal up instead, is because it's a little early in the game. Greece hasn't expanded, Denmark hasn't expanded, I haven't expanded as much as I probably should. So there's still going to be a barbed threat, and moving everybody on this side of the hills would be a little bad. But more importantly, like I said, I don't know which one of these the AI is going to choose, but if I move this guy in, it would definitely be him. Because the only reason why it would choose this over this is because he's damaged. Like later on, once we get the city-state's health down low, they won't have a choice but hit the melee unit just to stop from being conquered. So later on, you can actually control that, but right now we don't have that control. Now here's one of those times where I was saying I would go ahead and back up the warrior just to keep his health up. But because we know he can survive another volley, especially if I heal 10 and fortify, I'm going to go ahead and do that just because this gives me the opportunity to have 2 archers in range. So they'll both be getting a lot of XP while he takes another hit. I'm going to have to be careful, obviously, to get him out of there and heal him up. I don't like that the city-state's borders just grew here, because now that means he's not going to dangle a worker out here on the horses if I've got somebody healing up here. So if I'd like to steal another worker from the city-state, once my unit's back up and are healing, I'm going to have my scout unit here I don't think he'll be able to see it because I think the hill will stop him from seeing it from here, and the forest will stop him from seeing it from there. But fun and scout. Okay, so yeah, he should be able to survive another hit. No. And now my archers can be within range for another turn. Get more XP here. But now the warrior definitely wants to back up, and gotta hope he doesn't get killed. That's a risky move, but it'll allow these archers to get another turn each at shooting the city up. Okay, it's turn 54, and this video is going to get into how farming city-states can actually lead to helping you in terms of gold and happiness. For that reason, I'm going to include this little side technique that's not quite related that I call dump and pump. Basically, I had become friendly with Genoa by discovering Arabia once I had researched writing, and since I just cleared this camp for them with the flanking bonus help of this Incan scout, I now have access to dyes and porcelain, and I'm going to for the next 22 turns. So that's 8 happiness here that I've got for free for the next 22 turns. So what I'm going to do is while my happiness is up, I'm going to sell off my resources. We'll actually hold off on the wine because I can get more than 5, but go ahead and sell off my marble for 7, and then I'll sell off my wine and get money for that extra happiness. And the opposite works too. If you have luxuries to sell, you can sell them off and then use that money to buy a city-state's allegiance and get the happiness back that way. Anyways, I'll come over here and show you that it did come to fruition, exactly what I described. Actually, the worker popped out on the turn the city bombarded my scout, so I backed my scout up to this hill, healed for 1 turn, and now he's got enough health to be able to withstand another volley. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop in this worker. Now I did have to back this archer up from here to here, just because here would be within visibility range. He could see it and know that it could scoop in, so he never would have dangled the work out there, or the worker out there. So I did have to back this archer up. And I also want to be clear that one of the risks of this approach that I'm taking, at least given my current geography, is that that camp notification that popped up was actually this camp down here. So I'm going to go ahead and, once my units are healed, I'm going to go take care of that before I continue on. Now I want to point out, I don't actually know if attacking barbs works towards a great general or not, but I do know it stops giving your units XP after like their first level and a half or something like that. There might be a number attached to it, I don't know. So ideally we would have wanted to be able to clear this out before we did this, but you know, these are going to pop up anyway, so it's just something we gotta keep in mind and deal with. Okay, it's turn 75. In between building the library and the National College, I did build a spearman and another archer, so now I'm up to 3 archers, a spearman, and a warrior in terms of farming this city-state for XP. As you can see here, we're just about ready to get a great general. I think this shot will do it. And there we go. So now we have a great general. Now, why does this matter? Say you want to play a peaceful game. Like, why would you even bother, you know, improving your units and getting a great general? Well, there's several reasons. For example, with these 2 cities, and again, I realize I should have expanded more. Let's not really get into that, but I could bring this great general down here and expand my borders to grab this wine, maybe make some more money. Down here, there's some horses. After I get a couple great generals, I'll be able to chain down there and pick up some horses. And, you know, these things you can sell off for money. In fact, my money's actually doing quite poorly because I had traded a couple of unique luxuries for other unique luxuries rather than money. And the fact that I've got this city-state here, I'm just teeming with happiness, and I should have been trading away for some money. So, but I am researching in construction now, so that I'll be able to upgrade my archers to composite bowmen. And keep in mind, this military that I'm building, like, Greece is a neighbor, and you can see he's kind of expanded towards me. The larger my army, the better suited it is, the more I'll prevent him from attacking me. So that's one of the reasons why having some units is good. And another unit use for this great general is I just happen to have already built a road here, so he can actually move right now to within 2 tiles of my melee unit. which is really nice because now when the city goes to bombard him, he'll be that much more resistant. I might be able to use this along with the fact that he's got rough and cover to actually soak up 2 hits before having to retreat. And that way I can just keep swapping these 2 melee units out while all 3 of my archers keep getting swapped out. Okay, it's turn 82 and a little something's come up that'll help me demonstrate another reason why farming a city-state for unit XP can be useful even if you plan on playing a peaceful game. I am upgraded to Composite Bowman, but as you can see I've got 3rd level accuracy, so that's almost 50% more against open terrain. And the reason why I chose open terrain is because if I was to go domination, my 2 neighbors, you know, see flatland, Denmark, flatland, so that's why I was going for that. But you can see we hit like a truck basically, so I'll use a civilian unit to radar to figure out where this guy came from, and I'll have some of my units start heading over and to take that out while other units continue the cycle of healing. That's one of the nice things about having as many units as I have now. As you can see here, I'm finished with the National College, and I'm building a Composite Bowman while I'm waiting for the ability to build my Raiders Guild. So I'll end up having 4 Composite Bowmen, 2 melee. That'll be plenty to farm this for XP, and it'll give me some units to send out a detachment here and there. At some point I will build a scout just to keep an eye on Alexander because he's getting close, and I want to know when he's coming so I can pull all my units back. You can see I've already started on roads to my backside here to be able to allow my units to transition from offense and defense more quickly. So, and another nice thing about having this many archer units is because I have 2 in range here, I'm kind of risking it letting him take up 1 more shot. There is a great general nearby, and he does have rough and cover. But I want to try to keep these guys in range as much as possible. The further I can get the health of this thing down, the more they're going to have to focus on the melee units, and that'll pretty much lock me into a perpetual cycle here. Okay, now we're kind of down to the bottom line. I've got roads established up through here so all my units can move smoothly. Keeping the city-state's health down to pretty much next to nothing, which means they have to attack my melee unit every turn. I got 3 melee units here. I'm rotating them out. They're constantly getting experience because the city has to attack them. Meanwhile, my ranged units are constantly getting experience because they're doing the attacking. One thing to keep in mind, though, is if you do actually bring this down to 1, you can't actually kill a city-state by range. So if it's at 0 health, it'll say 1. If it is at 1, you won't actually get experience from shooting it again. But here, it was at 2, so we actually did some damage. You get experience for doing the damage, not for just shooting at it. Okay, before I go, there's one last thing to point out about this technique. It can be a blessing or a curse, depending on how it's utilized. One of the risks you take if your whipping boy happens to be next door to a city-state that's your ally is by keeping their health low, eventually your city-state ally will make a go for it. I kind of didn't want them to do this because, you know, I could do this in perpetuity, so why not, right? I've gone ahead and moved this Composite Bowman in as a blocker rather than shoot this turn. I don't think it's going to be enough, though. I guess it depends on which city-state goes first. Okay, so Sydney took it over. Now, to be clear, I'm not getting double maritime bonuses here. Okay, my food in the capital is the same. This is technically Sydney's property. Okay, so you're not going to get double city-state bonuses. In fact, this was a mercantile city-state before, so now that's one that I won't be able to take advantage of later on. So that's something to keep in mind. However, one of the nice things about it is whales from Sydney. Okay, I was already getting whales from Sydney. You come up here and it says resources imported, Sydney 2. Now see, that normally doesn't happen because usually city-states don't have duplicates of luxury resources. But let's say this was a different luxury resource than what Sydney already had. You'd actually end up with both. In fact, once I vacate this territory, the worker will come here and hook up horses, and I'll actually have horses. So Little trick there. You can basically get more resources that way, turn one ally into two, sort of. So just wanted to point that out. Anyways, that'll do it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun demonstrating. It's a very versatile technique. You develop your army, which keeps attackers off your back, or you can be the attacker. You can hook up resources outside your borders and get some money. A lot of different things you can do here, or just, you know, use the great generals. Like this is a pretty defensible city, but I am a little exposed to the south, so, and this is a desert tile, so if I place the citadel here, I wouldn't be removing any key tile improvement, but I'd complete the city's defense. There's just a lot you can do with it, even if you're not a warmonger. Like I could make use of these great generals. So, anyways, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.